At a cold bus stop late one evening, a shivering woman caught the attention of a man who couldn't stand to see her discomfort. He offered her his jacket, unaware that she was someone far more important than he could imagine. What happened next would change his life forever. Before we dive in, kindly subscribe for more heartwarming stories. Now, let's get started. It was one of those nights when the cold air cut through everything, making you feel like you couldn't escape it. Jake was standing at the bus stop, his hands jammed deep in his coat pockets, trying to keep warm. He wasn't in a rush. The bus was late anyway, as always. The wind blew harder, and Jake shivered as he glanced around the mostly empty bus stop. There was a woman standing a little way from him, huddled in a thin dress, her arms wrapped tightly around her body to block out the cold. Jake noticed she looked cold, really cold. The way her body was shaking made him feel uneasy. He wasn't sure why he was noticing her so much. Maybe because she looked out of place in the weather, maybe because she didn't have the right coat or layers to keep warm. Jake didn't know her, but he knew what it felt like to be cold, and he couldn't just ignore her. He looked down at his own jacket. It wasn't anything fancy, just a simple jacket that kept him warm enough. But it was big enough that it could probably cover her too. He debated with himself for a moment. It wasn't his problem, right? But he couldn't help. Something inside told him he had to help her, so without thinking too much about it, Jake made his decision. "Hey," he called, walking over to her. "It's really cold. You can have my jacket if you want. I'll be fine." The woman looked up at him, her eyes a little wide, like she hadn't expected anyone to offer her help. But then she smiled, a bit surprised. "Are you sure?" "It's okay, I'll manage." Jake shook his head. "Please. You look like you're freezing. I won't be able to relax until I know you're okay." She hesitated for just a moment, then shrugged. "Okay, thank you." Jake smiled as he helped her put on the jacket. It wasn't much, but it felt good to know she wouldn't have to suffer in the cold anymore. They stood there quietly, side by side, waiting for the bus to arrive. The bus finally arrived, pulling up in a cloud of exhaust fumes. Jake got on first. Then the woman followed. They both found empty seats, but not next to each other. Jake didn't mind. They were both just trying to get to their destinations in the quiet of the night. He looked out of the window, thinking about the moment he'd offered his jacket. It wasn't a big deal to him. He didn't expect anything in return. Just a simple act of kindness, that's all it was. He often thought that people should help each other out more, especially when it was as easy as offering a jacket. As the bus pulled away from the stop, Jake glanced over at the woman again. She was sitting quietly, wearing his jacket, her shoulders relaxed now that she wasn't shivering. Jake didn't know much about her, but he felt good about what he had done. It wasn't much, but it was something. The bus ride was quiet, mostly. The only sound was the hum of the engine and the occasional cough or shuffle from the few other people on board. Jake kept his eyes on the road ahead, wondering how long the woman had been waiting for the bus and what her day had been like. After a few more stops, the woman stood up and made her way to the door. She turned to Jake just before she got off. "Thanks again," she said with a soft smile. "I really appreciate it." "No problem," Jake replied, smiling back. "Stay warm." She nodded and stepped off the bus, disappearing into the night. Jake leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes for a moment, feeling content. It was one of those little moments that made life feel just a little bit better. He had helped someone in need, and that was enough for him. Jake didn't expect to see her again. But little did he know, the simple act of offering his jacket was about to change his life forever. The next morning, Jake sat at his desk, sipping on his coffee as he scrolled through his emails. It was a typical Tuesday and nothing special seemed to be happening at work. Jake worked as a junior graphic designer at a small company, doing his best to stay focused on the tasks in front of him. It wasn't a dream job, but it paid the bills, and that was enough for now. Then he saw something that made him pause. The subject line of one email caught his attention. Exciting news. Your kindness was noticed. Jake blinked. He hadn't received an email like this before. Curiosity got the best of him, and he clicked on the message. It was from his boss, Tim, who had attached a note saying, "Hey Jake, I wanted to share something interesting with you. I got a message from a very important person last night. She mentioned that she was on a bus with you and wanted to pass on her gratitude for your kindness. She was so impressed with your gesture, and it's had a positive impact. You're one of the good ones." Jake furrowed his brow, confused. He couldn't remember doing anything special that would have caught the attention of someone important. It was just a jacket, after all. But as he read further, he realized it wasn't just any person. It was the woman from the bus stop. She happens to be the CEO of a large tech company, and she would like to connect with you. She asked if I could pass along her thanks and mentioned that she'd love to meet with you. Jake felt his heart race. The CEO of a big tech company? Why would she want to meet with him? He had done nothing special. He was just a regular guy, offering a jacket to someone in need. Still, the email said she was interested in talking. Jake wasn't sure what to think. Could it really be for something as simple as kindness? Tim's email ended with a final note. "Let me know if you want me to set up a meeting. This could be a big opportunity for you." Jake sat there staring at the screen. It seemed unreal. How could offering a jacket to someone lead to something like this? It was just a small act. He hadn't thought twice about it. But here he was, on the verge of a meeting with a CEO, all because of a simple moment at a bus stop. A few days after receiving the email, Jake's phone rang. It was an unknown number, and for a second he hesitated. Should he answer? He figured it was just another telemarketer or someone trying to sell him something. But on a whim, he decided to pick up the phone anyway. "Hello?" he said cautiously. "Hi, is this Jake?" a woman's voice asked. She sounded friendly, but there was something formal about the tone. "Yeah, this is Jake," he replied. "Who's this?" "This is Amanda, from the HR department at Tech Solutions. I'm calling about the email you received from Tim." Jake's heart skipped a beat. Was this about the CEO? Was she really interested in him? "Yeah, I got the email. What's going on?" "Well, we'd love to set up a meeting with you. The CEO was really moved by your kind gesture, and she wanted to speak with you about an opportunity here at Tech Solutions." Jake's mind raced. He had no idea what she could be talking about. "What kind of opportunity?" Amanda explained. That the CEO had noticed Jake's kind act and was looking for someone with his qualities to join the company. The CEO thought Jake would be a good fit for a role they were hiring for. Jake could barely process the words. He had been offered a meeting with the CEO of a major company, all because of offering his jacket to a woman at a bus stop. I don't know what to say," Jake stammered. "I just gave her my jacket. I didn't think it was that big of a deal." Amanda laughed lightly. "Sometimes the smallest gestures mean the most, and the CEO believes that someone like you could really make a difference here." Jake felt overwhelmed. He never expected anything like this to happen, especially not after something as simple as offering a jacket. But he realized that sometimes the simplest acts of kindness are the ones that can change everything. A week later, Jake found himself walking through the glass doors of Tech Solutions, the company where the CEO worked. He felt out of place. The office was sleek, modern, and full of people in suits typing away on their computers. Jake, in his simple shirt and jeans, couldn't help but feel a little nervous. He had never been to a place like this before. The buzz of the office was intimidating, but he was here for a reason. The woman he had helped was waiting to meet with him. Amanda led him to a conference room where he sat down, trying to keep his nerves in check. His palms were sweating, and he kept reminding himself to breathe. He couldn't believe how much his life had changed in the past week. The door opened, and in walked the CEO, the same woman he had given his jacket to at the bus stop. She smiled when she saw him and offered a handshake. "Jake, it's great to finally meet you in person," she said, her smile warm and welcoming. I didn't expect this," Jake said, shaking her hand. She laughed softly. "Neither did I, honestly. But I think you have something special. Your kindness caught my attention, and I wanted to see what else you could bring to the table." Jake was still trying to process it all. "I'm just a regular guy. I didn't do anything special," she smiled. "Sometimes it's the small things that stand out the most, and I believe we could use someone like you in our team." A few days after Jake's interview, he received a phone call that would change everything. "Hello, Jake," the voice on the other end said. "This is Amanda from Tech Solutions again. I'm calling to offer you the position you interviewed for." Jake couldn't believe his ears. You're offering me the job?" "Yes, absolutely," Amanda said. "We believe you would be a perfect fit. The CEO really liked what she saw during your interview, and we'd love to have you join our team." Jake's heart raced. It didn't make sense. How could a simple act of kindness lead to a job offer from one of the biggest tech companies in the city? Thank you so much," Jake said, overwhelmed with gratitude. "I don't even know what to say." Amanda laughed. "Just say yes. You've earned it." Jake agreed, and within days he was officially part of the team at Tech Solutions. He had gone from a man who offered his jacket to a woman at a bus stop to someone working at one of the most prestigious companies in the city. Jake's first day at Tech Solutions was everything he'd hoped for and more. The office was full of smart, driven people, and he quickly found his place. He wasn't sure exactly what he had done to deserve this opportunity, but he was grateful. The CEO, Amanda, often stopped by his desk to check in, asking how he was adjusting. She always reminded him how his small act of kindness had made a big impact. One afternoon, as Jake sat in a meeting with his team, he realized just how much his life had changed. It was hard to believe that a single, small act could lead to so much. Every day, Jake felt more and more confident in his role, and he started to see that kindness, no matter how small, always mattered. Months passed, and Jake had settled into his new life. He was enjoying his work at Tech Solutions, and his colleagues had become his friends. One day, as he was working on a project, he received an email from Amanda, the CEO. Jake opened the email, and inside, there was a message that made him smile. "Jake, I just wanted to remind you how much your kindness meant to me when we first met. You didn't know it at the time, but it changed everything. I'm glad you're with us. Keep doing what you're doing. You're making a difference here." Jake smiled to himself, feeling a warmth inside. He knew he would always remember that cold night at the bus stop, how one small act of kindness had changed his entire life. And he would never stop believing that kindness, no matter how small, always had the power to make a difference. As the Aigi story unfolds, we've witnessed love, betrayal, and the resilience of the human heart. The journey of our characters has been filled with twists and turns, reminding us that no matter the obstacles, true love always finds a way. We hope you enjoyed this journey as much as we did bringing it to life. If you want to hear more heartfelt stories like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time.